mysteries fade with time, buried beneath silence, lost in forgotten files, or dismissed as mysteries that will never be solved. But behind every case is a voice that was never heard, a truth still waiting in the dark. This channel is dedicated to the victims, the unanswered questions, and the stories that refuse to disappear. Because somewhere, someone still knows what happened. Welcome to Cries, Unheard in the Darkness. On October 27, 1989, Bay Village, Ohio, was the picture of suburban safety. It was a place where stranger danger was a concept in a textbook, not a reality on your doorstep. But that Friday afternoon, a 10-year-old girl named Amy Mihaljevic walked out of her middle school and into a nightmare that would haunt the Midwest for the next 4 decades. Amy was bright, well-liked, and a lover of horses. She had no reason to run away. She had no reason to fear. But she had been targeted. Someone had spent weeks grooming her through the one lifeline we all trust. The telephone. The abduction of Amy Mihaljevic wasn't a crime of opportunity. It was a crime of meticulous calculation. In the weeks leading up to her disappearance, Amy had been receiving phone calls from an unknown male. This man didn't use threats, he used kindness. He told Amy he worked with her mother, Margaret McNulty. He claimed Margaret had just received a promotion at her job and that he needed Amy's help to pick out a surprise gift. He played on a 10-year-old's desire to be helpful and the secret thrill of a surprise. On October 27th, at approximately 2 p.m., Amy told her friends she was going to the Bay Square shopping center. Witnesses saw her there. They saw a white man in his 30s, wearing glasses, approach her. He didn't drag her away. He walked with her. Amy went willingly because she believed she was doing something special for her mom. By the time Margaret McNulty realized her daughter hadn't come home from school, the trail was already beginning to go cold. For 104 days, the city of Bay Village was draped in yellow ribbons. Thousands of volunteers combed the woods and lakefront. Then, on February 8, 1990, the news everyone feared arrived. A jogger running along a rural road in Ruggles Township, deep in Ashland County, spotted something in a field. It was Amy. She was roughly 50 miles away from where she had been taken. The autopsy revealed she had died shortly after her abduction from a combination of blunt force trauma to the head and stab wounds to the neck. But it was the forensic evidence that painted a truly bizarre picture of her killer. Several of Amy's personal belongings were missing, taken as souvenirs by the perpetrator. Her denim backpack, her specialized horse riding boots, a unique binder with a Buick, best-in-class logo, and her turquoise horse head earrings. But the killer left his own markers. Near the body, investigators found a handmade curtain and a blanket. Forensics later discovered these items were covered in hairs that matched Amy's dog. This suggests the killer had likely been to Amy's house or had handled items from her home environment, using the blanket to wrap her body and avoid leaving DNA in his vehicle. As the FBI and local police dug deeper, they realized Amy wasn't the only target. Several other young girls in the nearby suburb of North Olmsted had received almost identical phone calls about a promotion for their mothers. Investigators caught a break when they realized all these girls had something in common. They had all recently visited the Lake Erie Nature and Science Center. At the front door of the center was a guest logbook. The girls had signed their names, addresses, and phone numbers. The predator had been using the logbook like a catalog, picking out children who lived in safe neighborhoods. Over the decades, names would surface and fade. There was a longtime suspect who retained legal counsel in 2007. There was a potential link to Robert Ivan Nichols, an identity thief who lived under a stolen name for decades. But the evidence never quite clicked until 2021. In 2019, a woman came forward with a story she had been holding onto for 30 years. She pointed police toward a man named William McClellan. At the time of Amy's murder, McClellan's life was a series of red flags. He lived extremely close to the Bay Square shopping center where Amy was taken. On the night she disappeared, his girlfriend at the time noted he was uncharacteristically absent. When he finally returned, he was agitated, asking her if she had seen anything on the news about an abduction. When police interviewed McClellan in 2020 and 2021, the red flags turned into sirens. He made suspicious statements, suggesting he might have known or met Amy's mother. He failed a polygraph test. He drove a vehicle in 1989 that matched the description of a car seen near the Ashland County dump site. Perhaps most damningly, the carpeting in his car was similar in coloration to the fibers found on Amy's body. While no charges have been filed yet, authorities have stated that they believe their killer is on their list of current suspects. They are waiting for that final, undeniable forensic link. The murder of Amy Mihaljevic changed Ohio forever. It gave birth to the Community Fund for Assisting Missing Youth and helped shape how suburbs handle child safety. But for Amy's family, the cost was too much. Her mother, Margaret, died in 2001, never getting the answer to the question that defined her life. Her father and brother still wait. 36 years is a long time to hide a secret. If you lived in Bay Village or North Olmsted in 1989, if you knew someone who worked at the Nature Center, or someone who drove a car with gold-colored carpeting, your memory might be the key. If you have any information regarding this case, please contact the Bay Village Police Department. Thanks for listening to Cries, Unheard in the Darkness. If this story stayed with you, you're not alone. Like and subscribe, because the darkness always has more to say. Until next time, listen carefully.